All right, here we go. Probability experiment is anything or a thing that has a result you can observe or see. So an example, one would be like flip a coin. Another example would be roll a die. Did you know it's die when it's 1? If it's 2, it's dice. Yeah. 3 would be draw a card, like say a 5, like the video. Those are all examples of an experiment. When they ask you for a sample space is a list of all possible outcomes. I'm going to pause in just a second so you can finish typing. So, don't do this to me, OneNote. All right, everybody ready? If I flip a coin, what are all the possible outcomes of flipping a coin? Heads or tails. So I'm going to list H and a T. And then you put it inside of these like curly bracket things. Y'all ever seen that? H or T. That's my sample space. That is a list of all the possible outcomes for that experiment. Second one is rolling a die. What are all the possible outcomes when I roll a die?
1, 2, 3, 4, 1 through 6.
Right, 1 through 6. So I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I would list for my sample space. And the last one is drawing a card. Let's say like a 5 of diamonds, like the video. So we're not going to write all these, but the sample space for drawing a card, one specific card, you would list all the cards. So you would say ace of hearts, 2 of hearts, 3 of hearts, so on, so on, so on, until you listed all 52 of them. Okay?
Are we going to have to do that?
No, we're not going to do that. It's a waste of time. But just so you understand, that's what the sample space would be. All right. Any questions on that first part? Okay. So when they ask for the sample space, you list it all out. Probability of an event. All right. When you see the word probability, there needs to be a little thing in your head that goes off like bing, bing, bing. Probability means a fraction, basically. Okay. If my highlighters would ever work right, I can highlight it. Probability, the formula for probability, this is how I like to remember it, is the number of ways to get what I want divided by the total number of possible outcomes. Good times. All right. Did not save that. So again, the number of what? Is that what it said? Thank you. Number of ways to get what I want divided by the total number of possible outcomes. We'll give examples in just a second. But that's basically how you write a probability. It's a fraction. You can always turn it into a percent and a decimal, but you can give me a fraction, that's fine, unless it says what percent of so-and-so, okay? In the video, the guy pulled out a 5 of diamonds, right? So the probability of pulling a 5 of diamonds out of a deck of cards would be, you would see a probability of 5 of diamonds. The total number of possible outcomes would be the total number of cards in the deck, right? How many cards are in the deck? 52. So that would be my denominator. And how many 5 of diamonds are there? 1. So it would be 1 out of 52 chance that he was going to pull that 5 of diamonds. No, it's magic, so maybe he made him pull the, I don't know. What's that as a decimal? Anybody have a calculator? No. You're just guessing? Do y'all not have these? You don't have them out? You need them out this unit, okay? You're gonna need these. Oh my gosh, Reed, you gotta do work. It's terrible.
1.9.
No, that's not right.
At least I tried.
1.9? No, it's less than 1, right? It's a probability.
0.01.
So 0.01 is a 5 of diamonds. That's not a very high probability, right? Pretty low. All right, let's look at these other options. Flipping a coin, the probability of tails. Davis, you're up. How do we use our formula here? What's the probability of tails when I flip a coin? 50%. Okay, give me a fraction. It's okay. So how many total outcomes are there? 2. So that's my denominator. And then tails would be, how many ways can I get tails? 1. So 1/2, or like he said, 50%, or 0.5, those all mean the same thing. So on this chart here, 50% would be right in the middle. That would be my chance of getting tails. Okay. Rolling a die. Sophia C. What would be my probability of rolling a 5?
1 out of 6.
Good. 1 out of a total of 6 outcomes. And as a decimal, what is that? 0.166. So about right here would be rolling a 5. Okay. And then we've got drawing a spade. Kate. How do I write a fraction for drawing a spade? Like, what's the total number of cards that I can pull from? I'm going to start with my denominator. 52. Kate, do you know how many spades are in a deck of cards? No? Mojo, do you know? 13. Good. So 13 total spades. So you have a 13 out of 52 chance of drawing a spade if you drew a card. Now, what does that simplify to? 1/4. You're always going to simplify fractions, okay? So you have a 1 out of 4 chance of drawing a spade. That makes sense because there's 4 suits, right? And they all have equal amount of cards. So on our little diagram, this would be chance of drawing a spade, if I can draw one. Oops, I just messed it up. All right, so if we look at this diagram here on the left, which thing has the lowest probability? The diamond, drawing 1 exact card out of a deck, right? What has the highest probability? Tails, right? You have the highest chance of getting tails compared to the other things. It's still 50-50, right? You've all flipped a coin. Like, oh, I didn't get it. Right? It happens. I always go with tails. Seems to work for me. All right. This next example, it's a little confusing, so bear with me, but It's just to use things that aren't numbers to try to introduce Venn diagrams. Have y'all used Venn diagrams before? A little bit? Okay. Let's do another example on the side so we can make sure we understand how this works. So we'll use you guys as an example. Look at that perfect circle I drew. All right. Let's say this is dogs. This is cats. And then you always have a box around these because there are things that don't belong in either circle. So raise your hand if you have a dog and a cat. If it's more than one, that's fine, at home. Nobody? Just me? Has dogs and cats? Okay. Raise your hand if you have just cats, cat or cats. Nobody has a cat?
I'm allergic.
Well, y'all are a terrible example for this. Okay. 0. Raise your hand if you have dog. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. Okay. What animals do y'all have? Other people, nothing? Bunnies?
I have a fish.
Fish? Turtle? Who has a fish? Just you? Do you have fish?
This is past tense.
Oh. All right. Who doesn't have any a dog or a cat? Has no dogs, no cats. Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4? So where do I put that number? Outside, right here. Not in dogs or cats. What does that add up to? 20. Is that how many people are in this room?
No.
4, 7, 10, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Did I miss somebody? All right, we're going to pretend I missed somebody that has a cat. Okay. Looking at this, how many people own cats?
1, 2.
Good. 2. 2, because it's in this circle that says cats, right? How many people own dogs? 16. Good. How many people own a cat and a dog? 1. Because that's in the middle where they overlap. How many people own neither a cat nor a dog?
4.
4. Okay, good. And the total is you add up all the numbers, right? 21 will be all the numbers. Okay, good. How many people either have no pets or a cat? 6. Good. So I'm using the words you're going to be seeing in this unit, or we'll see what that means, and we'll see what that means, and you guys are getting it, so that's good. All right, so let's go back to this example. You always are defining these circles as an event, okay? So that's something happening, you can see the outcome. Event B is beginning with a vowel. Event E is ending with a vowel. Whoa. And then the middle would be words that begin and end with a vowel, right? Where they overlap. Okay? So we're going to fill out this Venn diagram based on these 5 words that they give us right here. So let's start with words that begin with a vowel but don't end with a vowel. Which ones would that be? Eggplant? Are there any other ones? No, I think that's it. Eggplant. And then for event E, they end with a vowel. Well, not pear. Kiwi. Mango. Okay. And then in the middle would be any words that begin and end with a vowel, which would be apple. And then pear doesn't belong in either of those, so that one goes on the outside. Okay? That's how you would complete that Venn diagram. Any questions?
So you wouldn't put apple in the middle and on the side?
Good question. No. So you're saying I wouldn't put apple in 2 places, right? Because then I would be using that twice, and it's only given once. But that's a great question because that's going to come into play in just a second. Just like when we were looking at who has dogs and cats, this is me with a cat and a dog, right? But you wouldn't count me again over here. Yeah. Now that's a really good question. All right. These words right here that you see are the most important words in this unit. So this part right here should be what you definitely want to memorize quickly as possible, which is why it's important to do the homework and practice this. So let's talk about what these mean. Intersection is and. When we just said who has a dog and a cat, that was that section in the middle where they overlapped, right? So intersection, you need to think of as where they overlap, okay? So it is where both events, or three events, are happening at the same time, I guess. Yeah. So when I talk about intersection, B and E, you're going to see this symbol that looks like this. Okay, that means intersection. I like to think of it as an N, like a little lowercase n for intersection. So when you get to these diagrams, you're going to shade where B and E overlap. That would be this little sliver right here. That's the intersection. And that's what this little N means. Y'all with me? Okay. So what was in that little sliver in the middle? That was just apple, right? When it says list the outcomes of, this is read as B and E. So think of intersection as and, where they overlap. Union is not and, it is or. Remember when I just said who has a cat or no animals? And y'all knew right away to add up all the cat circle and all the no animals, right? You add them together. A union is like all together, kind of like when people get married, they say they form a union, right? They combine everything together. Okay? The union is where all events are added together, I would say. Makes the most sense. Okay, union is actually represented by just a U. It looks like that. And it looks like a U for union. When you go on the diagram to shade it, it would be all of this one and all of the second circle. That would be it added together. B. So we would say, who has a dog or a cat? You would give me all those numbers in there, right? So this would be B or E. That's how you would say that. Or the union of B and E, right? But what's in B or E? It could be in either one. I just want to know. So that was eggplant, apple, kiwi, and mango all together. Now, like Claire said, I'm not going to say apple twice, right? Because I already listed it. Any questions so far about union or intersection? Very, 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 very important. And the last thing is a complement. This is not when you say something nice. This is spelled with an E. Complement, you'll see a lot of times, is the word not. Okay, it means the opposite. And it's actually notated with just a apostrophe. So when you see the complement, it means the opposite of that event. So right here, you can see it says not be. That's how you read that. Now it works. Erase. So you read the apostrophe first, right? As not. So this would be not be. So what is not be? Let's shade that on the drawing. So everything that's be, I think it was the first circle. So we're going to shade everything that's not be. So basically the opposite of be. And I promise you, if you can get good at this shading thing, it will help you so much with these questions. All right, so not be is everything not in that first circle, but it includes this section of that other circle, right? So who does not own a dog? That would be all these people, right? In this section. So you would do all those values. Okay. So that was kiwi, mango, and pear, right? Did I miss? No, yeah, that was it. All right. Again, most important things in this entire unit right there. Intersection and union or complement not with the apostrophe. All right, let's practice this. Here we have some information and we have a Venn diagram. I want you to fill in the Venn diagram based on this information. So let's read it. The class schedules of 50 seniors were pulled. 20 of these seniors are taking a music class, 25 are taking AP class, 6 are taking both a music class and an AP class. Complete the Venn diagram. You always want to label your circles. So we're going to label the first one M for music class, and we're going to label the second one A for AP class. So go ahead and fill in this diagram based on what information they give you. Lindsay, did you already do it?
This is the first one. One more circle is kind of bad, so I don't.
Okay. You add that up. Make sure it's 50.
It's not. Oh.
You shoot over that one. All right, if you wrote your numbers in there, go ahead and add them up. What should they add up to? 50, right? Where's your number? You guys add up to 50?
Yeah.
51. Aren't sure where yours add up to?
51.
51? But 50, right?
There's 19.
Huh. Mojo said he put 19 on the left side, not 20.
Because you're like saying that that's out of 50.
All right. You're all doing this common mistake that's right here. Not all of you, almost all of you, which is fine. Because I would have done the same thing. You're like, oh, it's 20 music, 6 in the middle, and then 25. How many people are taking a music class? What does it say? 20, right? How many people in this diagram are showing as taking a music class? Right. Do y'all see why that's showing 26? And that circle of music is 26. So instead, you need to, like Sophia just said, take away 6 from that number. Because you're already representing those 6 people in that middle section. So you would have 14 over here. I mean, on the right side, taking an AP class, this is now showing 31. But how many are actually taking it? 25. So again, I'm taking away that middle part because I've already counted it in the middle. So that would give me 19. Does that kind of make sense? I'm already representing those people in the middle. It's just like at the beginning, I said, who has a cat and a dog? That was me, right? I was that one. So I didn't put myself in the only dogs part, right? I'm in the middle. It doesn't add up to 50?
Oh, then 11.
14, 6, 19. And you're right, it does not add up to 50 because some people, are some of you not in music or an AP class? Yeah, there's some people not in either. So you do 14 plus 6 plus 19, which is what? 39. So then you would take the total 50 and subtract that. And that would give you everybody that doesn't fall in either category. And you're right to realize that it should all add up to 50. That's good. You want it to add up to the total number because you want it to represent everyone. Okay? That's good that we all made that mistake because now you'll remember. If I just told you how to do it, you probably wouldn't remember it. Okay? And that sounds dumb, but sometimes when you make a mistake, then you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that again. Right? All right, now what we have to do is translate what we see here into words so we can figure out what they're asking for, okay? Again, remember, we're looking at what it's asking, the size. It's not asking probability, it's saying what's the size, meaning how many, okay? So we need to translate this. What does that U mean again? It means all, right? You add them together, and in math we say or, right? Union is or. So we're wanting to know how many are in M or A. So when you think about that value, it's going to be M and A all added together. So it'd be everything in these two circles. Does that make sense? When you start with these, I always draw these little tiny circles and think about what I'm looking for before I just go start looking at the picture, because to me, it just makes way more sense to do it that way, but you'll have to figure out what works for you. So you would add up 14 plus 6 plus 19, which we already said was 39. Okay? Not so bad. Now that next one gets a little ugly. What does that apostrophe mean? Not. So we're saying M, what is this? Upside down U mean? And, good, intersection. And A, but not A. So here's where your shading comes in handy. If you shade M, I'm going to shade it M in yellow. Nope, because my OneNote doesn't work. Go ahead and try it. Draw a little diagram, shade M, then shade not A, and see where they overlap, right? That's what we're looking for, is the overlap, the and. So we're going to draw. It did this to me last class. I had to close the program out. Okay, so we're going to shade M. I'm going to use blue. That's M. And then I'm going to shade not A. Y'all with me? What is not A is everything out here and this little part, right? That's not A. My highlighter's too big. Still going. Y'all are doing this too, right? I gotta make my highlighters bigger, smaller. There we go. All right, so this is not A. This is not A. All of this out here. So where it overlaps would be the purple. Do y'all see that? Because I'm looking for the intersection. So the intersection of M and not A is this red section that I'm highlighting here, which would be 14.
So you don't have the 11?
No, because it says intersection, because it's and. So it's where they overlap. So it's where the blue and then the pink overlapped. It made the purple.
Okay.
So you're looking for that overlapping part. The last one says M or A, but then it says what?
No.
Not M or A. So there's a couple ways you could do this. You could shade M and A all together. I mean, M or A. And then do the opposite, right? Which makes sense to me. I would say, okay, M or that one, but then they're saying not that. So then I would want everything that's not shaded. So that would be all of this out here, right? That would be where my 11 would come into play. This is trying my patience. Okay, I'm just going to do that. Okay, so not M or A would be that 11 that's sitting out here. That would be my answer. Okay, questions about that? All right, last example we're going to do is this one. I have to close out my OneNote for a second and then come back to it. So go ahead and do the first question right here, this one. Is it asking for size or probability? Both? Does it have a P next to it? No, the first one. The first one does not. Okay, so that means you're looking for just the number size, which is important to know what it's asking. Okay, do we all understand that in this diagram where the things overlap, they share, right? But it's just 3 circles, but still the same idea. So how many people looking at this picture have a cat? Is it 10? How'd you get 28? Do y'all understand? You got to add up all these numbers in cat. Y'all looking up here? See all these yellow numbers? Those are all people that have a cat. Okay. People that have a bird. How many people have a bird? It's not one, right? Do y'all see? It's this whole circle. Okay. Where that is B. Now, how many people have a bird and a cat? No? 12. Let me make this brighter. You can see the intersection better. Do you see this intersection here where it turns orange? Sorry if you're colorblind, but okay. Do y'all see that now? Bird and cat are those two pieces. If you kind of ignore the third circle, like pretend it's not there. How many people have just a bird, no other animals? One. Right. All right, what's my other color here? Blue? Let me get a brighter blue. Dogs would be this whole circle. How many people have dogs? 9 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2, right? How many people have a dog and a bird? Dog and bird. Intersection of dog and bird. 4. How many people have a dog and a cat and a bird? Archer? He's not listening. How many people have a dog and a cat and a bird? How many archers are in this class? Everyone be quiet. Yes, but it's the intersection, right? Because I'm saying dog and cat and bird. It's 2. You see how that works with these circles, guys? Where all 3 overlap is where you'd have the intersection, all of them together. Dog and cat and a bird, 2 people. And this is what it would look like. Okay? I know it's weird. It's like a foreign language or something. Let's work on these 3 here at the bottom because you're going to need to know how to do this. So my advice is, number 1, see if it's asking for a size or a probability. If it has a P next to it, it's asking for a probability. Translate what it's saying. Okay, this says B and C, but then it says what? Not B and C. So my advice, again, is to draw a picture. You have this really big picture up here, so it's up to you if you use that picture or you draw your own. I will draw one so y'all can see what I'm talking about. So there's 3 circles. Oh, that's pretty good. And I'm going to shade anything that's not, actually, I'm going to shade B and C, and then I'm going to realize what's not in that. Does that make sense? So B and C, this is B, this is C, this is D. So, and remember means intersection. So that would be this part right here. Now, I'm actually looking for not that. Can you leave her hair alone, please, and focus? Thank you. Take cosmetology, then you can mess with that. So not B and C is every single thing that is not in that little sliver. But it includes stuff in the other parts of B and C. So now I take all the numbers that are in that part and add them up. What do we get? Anybody have it? How could we do this quickly? What's in those 2 little pink parts? That's a 2 and a 10, right? What's the total that all of this should add up to? 40. So if I'm adding up everything except 10 and 2, what would I be getting? I should get 40 minus 12, which is 28. And if you sat there and added up all these numbers, that's what you would get, I think. 2, 1, 9, 6, 10, right? Y'all with me so far?
So it's
Yeah.
saying, I thought it was saying that everything that wasn't B.
It's saying everything that's not where B and C happen at the same time.
Oh, so not when anything that B and C is. Okay.
But it still includes some stuff that's only in C, right? And that's only in B. Like the yellow parts,
Okay.
right? Like this part.
I thought it was trying to get you to like say D, like D because it didn't have B or C in it. Like, that's what I thought.
Yeah, same.
The and is confusing. Now, okay, so that's a good question. If it said not B or C, okay,
Oh.
then that would be that would be B or C. So you do the same process, right? I would shade B or C, meaning all of them together. And then not that, you're right, would be everything outside of those.
Okay.
It would be this.
So the and means everything including that?
It means where they overlap, where they intersect.
Okay.
So that is not B or C. That top one was not B and C.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good way to show the difference. That would make more sense to do, honestly, on this worksheet next time. Does that help y'all a little bit? It's confusing. That's why I like to start. I still have to do it with the circles, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to shade this, and then I'm going to take the opposite, right? All right, let's try another one. This one says probability of B and D. So B and D. So just because it says probability, don't let it freak you out. All that means is you're going to put it over 40 when you get the answer, okay? Please stop packing up. Don't do that. It's rude. We still have 5 minutes. You should still be writing stuff down. True. All right. So B and D. So in our picture, we're going to look at, again, where they overlap. I think it was this one, right? Here. B and D, yeah. So what was in those little values? It's 2 and 2, right? So this is 2, this is 2, so 2 plus 2 is 4. So 4 out of 40 is my probability. You would simplify that to 1 out of 10. Okay, here's what this actually means, and we're going to ask you this at some point. Tell me what this means in English, right? What this means is if I have 40 people in a room and I pull one person out of that room at random, there is a 10% chance that they have a bird and a dog. That's what this means. What's the probability of one person having a bird and a dog of these 40 people? Well, if 4 out of 40 have it, then 1 out of 10, right? Same thing. So I pick one person. The chance that they have that is 10%. Not very likely, but it could happen. The last one is a little cray-cray, but we can do it. So we have our 3 circles. We have B and C and not D. Your choice how you do it. I would probably shade B, and then I would shade C, and then I would shade not D. So not D is all of this out here. Well, what are they asking for? Where these all overlap. So where do they overlap? Do y'all see it? It's kind of hard to see it because I changed the colors. It would be the green and the dark blue. So they overlap here and here. Right? So I shaded B, I shaded C, and then I shaded not D. A little harder. I think the answer is 21 out of 40. Maybe if I used a different color, I don't know. All right, please do the homework. Please practice this. It's very confusing if you don't do the practice of it. B and C. I don't know, that one's so confusing. They won't be that hard. All right, now you can back up. But stay in your seats, please. I don't know if that's right. I'm looking at it. Yeah, I don't think that's right. I think it's 10. Did you? Yeah, because that's.
It's like B and C and not.
Yeah, so it's like.
So it's B and C and not.
It's this, and then it's not D, so then, yeah, it would just be like this little piece. Yeah, it's 10. Okay, now I'll stop the recording. Forgot.